the rise and fall of the greatest flying creature in Earth's history. Long before humans ever dreamed of flying, before birds ruled the skies, before even mammals had fully taken over the land, a creature so large it seemed impossible once took flight above the ancient Earth. Its wings were wider than a fighter jet. Its height was taller than a giraffe. Its shadow could stretch across an entire herd of dinosaurs. This was Quetzalcoatlus, the largest flying animal that ever lived. For over 150 million years, pterosaurs dominated Earth's skies. But Quetzalcoatlus stood above them all, a living titan of air and bone that redefined what nature could build. Its story is one of evolution, power, mystery, and catastrophe. Chapter 1. A Monster from the Stone. In 1971, in the remote desert of Big Bend National Park, Texas, a paleontology student named Douglas Lawson was walking through rocky cliffs when he stumbled upon something extraordinary. Huge fossilized bones were sticking out of the ground, bones far larger than anything scientists had ever seen from a flying animal. At first, no one could believe what they were. They were thin and hollow like bird bones, but enormous like dinosaur bones. It took years of excavation and study to understand what had been found. In 1975, the creature was finally named Quetzalcoatlus northropii. It was named after Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent god of Aztec mythology, a fitting name for a creature that ruled both sky and land. Scientists quickly realized something shocking. Quetzalcoatlus had a wingspan of up to 40 feet, the size of a small airplane. No bird in history ever came close. Even today's largest flying bird, the wandering albatross, barely reaches 12 feet. Quetzalcoatlus was in a league of its own. Chapter 2. What was a Quetzalcoatlus? Quetzalcoatlus was not a dinosaur. It was a pterosaur, a group of flying reptiles that lived alongside dinosaurs. Unlike birds, pterosaurs did not have feathers. Their wings were made of leathery skin stretched over an elongated finger that ran from their body to the tip of the wing. Their bones were hollow like birds, making them incredibly light. But Quetzalcoatlus was extreme even by pterosaur standards. It stood 15 to 18 feet tall when walking on the ground, as tall as a giraffe. Its skull was over 10 feet long. Its beak was long, sharp, and toothless. Its body was relatively small, but its wings were massive, perfectly designed for gliding long distances. When Quetzalcoatlus folded its wings and stood upright, it would have looked like a towering alien creature, more like a living crane crossed with a dragon. Chapter 3. Could it really fly? At first, many scientists thought it was impossible. How could something that large ever take off? The laws of physics seemed to say it couldn't. But modern research revealed something incredible. Quetzalcoatlus didn't take off like a bird. It used a quad launch, pushing off with both wings and legs at the same time, like a powerful vault. This gave it explosive lift. Once airborne, Quetzalcoatlus didn't flap much. It soared. Like a giant living hang glider, it rode warm air currents called thermals, traveling hundreds of miles without effort. It could cross entire continents in days. This made it the greatest long-distance flyer in Earth's history. Chapter 4. The World of Quetzalcoatlus. Quetzalcoatlus lived during the late Cretaceous period, about 70 million years ago. At that time, North America looked nothing like it does today. Huge inland seas split the continent. Warm, humid climates covered the land. Forests, rivers, and floodplains stretched endlessly. Dinosaurs roamed everywhere. Tyrannosaurus rex hunted on land. Triceratops grazed. Hadrosaurs traveled in massive herds. And above them all, Quetzalcoatlus flew. But it didn't just live in the sky. It spent much of its time on the ground. Chapter 5. A land-based apex predator. For decades, scientists believed Quetzalcoatlus was a fish-eater that skimmed the oceans, but fossil evidence proved otherwise. Quetzalcoatlus lived far inland, hundreds of miles from the sea. It hunted on land. Its long neck and beak allowed it to stab downward, grabbing small dinosaurs, lizards, mammals, and eggs. It was a terrestrial stalker, like a giant predatory stork. Imagine walking across the ancient plains and seeing this, a towering creature as tall as a giraffe, moving silently on 4 limbs, then suddenly striking down with a lightning-fast beak. Nothing small stood a chance. Quetzalcoatlus was not just a flyer, it was a land predator and scavenger, dominating ecosystems in ways no animal ever has before or since. Chapter 6. Why it grew so large. Evolution pushed Quetzalcoatlus to extreme size for one main reason: no competition. There were no birds large enough to compete with it. No flying predators could challenge it. As it grew bigger, it could travel farther, kill larger prey, escape danger, control more territory over millions of years. Natural selection favored larger and larger pterosaurs. Eventually, Quetzalcoatlus reached the absolute limit of what flight could allow. It was the final masterpiece of flying evolution. Chapter 7. A sky filled with giants. Quetzalcoatlus was not alone. Other giant pterosaurs existed: Aremborgiania, Hatzegopteryx, Cryodracon. They ruled skies across the world. For millions of years, Earth had flying titans instead of birds. But their dominance would not last. A disaster was coming. Chapter 8. The Edge of Extinction. 66 million years ago, something unimaginable happened. A 6-mile-wide asteroid slammed into Earth. The explosion was larger than 100 trillion nuclear bombs. Firestorms engulfed continents. Tsunamis flooded coastlines. The sky turned black with ash. Sunlight disappeared. Plants died. Herbivores starved. Carnivores followed. The food chain collapsed. And the flying giants, including Quetzalcoatlus, were among the first to fall. But how exactly did it die? When the age of Quetzalcoatlus was at its height, Earth was alive with giants. Forests stretched across the continents. Dinosaurs ruled the land. And the skies were filled with enormous wings casting shadows over the plains. But 66 million years ago, a single moment changed everything. That moment would end not only the reign of the dinosaurs, but also the age of the flying titans. Chapter 9. The Asteroid. In the late Cretaceous sky, something was coming. A mountain-sized asteroid, traveling more than 40,000 miles per hour, was racing toward Earth. It struck what is now the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. The impact created a crater over 110 miles wide. The explosion was so powerful that the ground liquefied. Rock vaporized. The atmosphere ignited. A shockwave raced around the planet, flattening forests thousands of miles away. Quetzalcoatlus, flying high above the land, would have seen something no creature had ever seen before: a second sun. Chapter 10. Fire from the Sky. Within minutes of the impact, billions of tons of rock were blasted into space. Those fragments fell back to Earth as burning debris, heating the atmosphere until it became an oven. Everything beneath it ignited. Forests burned, animals suffocated. Oceans boiled near the impact zone. The world was on fire. Quetzalcoatlus, if it survived the initial blast, would have been forced to flee through smoke-filled skies with nowhere to land. Its wings, made of fragile skin, could not survive intense heat. Many were burned alive in the air. Chapter 11. The long night, then came the darkness. Ash, soot, and sulfur blocked the sun. Temperatures dropped. Photosynthesis stopped. Plants died. Without plants, herbivores starved. Without herbivores, predators starved. For a creature like Quetzalcoatlus, which relied on seeing prey and flying long distances, this was a death sentence. The skies became cold, dark, and deadly. Flight became nearly impossible. Chapter 12. Why pterosaurs died. Birds survived because they were small. They could hide. They ate seeds, insects, and anything they could find. Quetzalcoatlus was massive. It needed large amounts of food. It needed open land to hunt. It needed thermal air currents to fly. All of that vanished. Within months to years, every giant pterosaur was gone. The skies fell silent. Chapter 13. The end of the flying titans. For 150 million years, pterosaurs ruled the air, and then, in a geological instant, they were erased. No eggs hatched, no survivors remained. The largest flying creatures in Earth's history vanished forever. Chapter 14. The Rise of Birds. With the pterosaurs gone, the skies were empty. Small feathered dinosaurs, birds, took their place. They evolved, diversified, and spread across the planet. But none would ever grow as large as Quetzalcoatlus again. Earth had changed. The age of giants was over. Long before the asteroid arrived, before fire fell from the heavens, Quetzalcoatlus lived an extraordinary life. To understand how it vanished, we must first understand how it lived. Chapter 15. From Egg to Giant. Quetzalcoatlus began life no bigger than a chicken. Like all pterosaurs, it hatched from a soft, leathery egg buried in warm sand or soil. Unlike birds, baby pterosaurs were born fully developed. They could walk, crawl, and even fly within days. They received no care from their parents, no feeding. From the moment they hatched, they were on their own. This allowed them to grow quickly, and it had to. The world was filled with predators. Young Quetzalcoatlus likely hid in vegetation, feeding on insects and small animals until they were large enough to fly safely. Within months, they took to the sky. Within years, they grew into giants. Chapter 16. How a 40-foot animal flew. Flight at this scale was a miracle of evolution. Quetzalcoatlus used a unique method of movement. Unlike birds, Quetzalcoatlus walked upright. Its wings folded into powerful front limbs, allowing it to sprint like a quadruped. When it took off, it launched upward using both wings and legs in a powerful jump, like a pole vaulter. Once in the air, it became a living sail. It glided for hours, using warm air currents to stay aloft. This allowed it to conserve energy and travel massive distances. Chapter 17. The Giant Hunter. On land, Quetzalcoatlus was terrifying. It walked like a tall, slender predator. Its neck was long and flexible. Its beak was sharp and deadly. It stalked small dinosaurs, lizards, mammals, and even other pterosaurs. When it struck, it did so with lightning speed. One bite could kill. Nothing small was safe. Chapter 18. What it sounded like. We don't know exactly what Quetzalcoatlus sounded like, but we can guess. Pterosaurs likely used throat sacs and air-filled chambers to make loud calls. Imagine a deep, hollow croak mixed with a bird and a reptile. When hundreds of Quetzalcoatlus gathered, the sound would have been thunderous. Chapter 19. Territory and Migration. Quetzalcoatlus was a traveler. It likely migrated thousands of miles each year, following prey and warm climates. Entire populations would have crossed continents, darkening the sky as they went. No flying animal before or since has matched this. Chapter 20. The Last Generation. As the asteroid approached Earth, Quetzalcoatlus was thriving, but it had no warning. No instinct could prepare it. No evolution could save it. When the skies went dark, its story was coming to an end. The age of Quetzalcoatlus did not end in a single moment. It ended in silence. A silence that spread across the skies as the world entered one of the darkest chapters in Earth's history. Chapter 21. The Last Flight. After the asteroid impact, the world was plunged into chaos. The sky was filled with smoke and ash. The sun became a dim red disk. Temperatures dropped rapidly. Quetzalcoatlus relied on warm air currents to stay aloft. Those currents disappeared. Without sunlight, the atmosphere cooled and became still. The giant pterosaurs could no longer soar. Their wings were built for gliding, not constant flapping. Flying became exhausting. Then, impossible. Many would have crashed into the ground, too weak to lift themselves back into the air. Chapter 22. Starvation. Even those that survived the heat and darkness faced another enemy: hunger. The plants were gone. Small animals died. Ecosystems collapsed. Quetzalcoatlus, which required large prey, could not find enough food. Its enormous size became a weakness. Each day, fewer survived. The enormous sky hunters slowly faded from the land. Chapter 23. Why birds survived. Birds were small. They could hide. They could eat seeds, insects, and carrion. Quetzalcoatlus could do none of these. Its specialized hunting style and massive body made survival impossible. Within a few years, the last of the flying giants died. No eggs hatched. No young took their place. Chapter 24. The empty sky. For millions of years after, the sky was quiet. Only small birds remained. The reign of flying reptiles was over. Earth had entered a new age. Chapter 25. The legacy of Quetzalcoatlus. Quetzalcoatlus remains the largest flying creature that ever lived. Nothing before, nothing since. It represents the absolute limit of what life on Earth could achieve. It was a creature so perfectly adapted to flight that it transformed the sky into its hunting ground. Its fossils remind us that Earth was once far stranger and more incredible than anything we see today. The story of Quetzalcoatlus is the story of life itself. Rise dominance, collapse renewal. It ruled the air for millions of years, and then vanished. But its memory lives on, written in stone and in the endless sky above us.